Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, it's time for full transparency. You're about to get it because what I'm about to tell you is the House Judiciary Committee is confirming everything, guys. We got so much amazing news that this is probably going to be one of those shows that we remember for a long, long time. The House Oversight Project Committee has found that the Biden presidency was almost entirely run by autopen signature. They said we gathered every document we could find with Biden's signature over the course of his presidency, all used the same autopen signature. Biden wasn't even signing the documents. He literally was having staffers use his autopen signature in the database to sign documents that he didn't even know he was signing. He had no idea what was going on with his presidency. This is one of the biggest scandals ever because Biden said that he thought this was going on and this was going on. And now the House Oversight Project Committee has just announced that Biden was essentially not running his own presidency. It was his staffers using his autopen signature on all the documents, on all the changes, on all the stuff that was happening. This is about as bad as it gets. But this is what I love, guys. The Trump administration is delivering transparency like nobody's business. This is amazing news because what does it do? It shows that the Democrats will do anything. They will put a puppet in there just so that they can be in charge, and now America is seeing it. On top of that, Doge is continuing to deliver, with every left-wing media outlet having to report that the majority of the United States citizens are in favor of Doge, and they want to continue it and go even harder. And it's now we're having what they call the trickle-down Doge. Republican states are embracing Musk-style cuts, and across multiple red states, they're looking for fraud, waste, and abuse, and they're finding it. And guess what? What does this mean? Lower taxes. What does this mean? Not having to have so much high budgets so people can, because this is a big one, guys. This is something that Musk is pushing for. No property taxes across the United States. That's what the red states are going for. Florida is leading the way right now. There's talks in Tennessee and other red states. They are literally delivering to the American people an America First agenda that is blowing everybody's mind right now. And like I said, this is why this show is going to be so big. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said the Trump administration is working on abolishing income tax payments to the IRS. He said, wouldn't it be amazing to stop paying taxes to the IRS and have external revenue services replace our taxes? That's why the tariffs are so important. This is so huge, guys. And then to top it off with a cherry on top, Trump signed an executive order which suspends the security clearances for employees at Perkins Coie, the same law firm that represented Hillary Clinton's campaign and was involved in the Steele dossier related to the allegations of Trump and Russia's connection. He is bringing transparency like never before, guys. I love this. I hope you love this. Just want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And want to say, if you don't mind, please do me a favor. Click that thumbs up like button, guys. It really helps out with the show. Want to say, hey, we got fireworks. Thank you to all of our members of the channel. I see we got Karen Shabandi. And also, we've got Jackie Rorson. I hope Jackie Rorson. Y'all show them some love in the chat. Show me how to say it right on the chat, guys, and I promise I will. Thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. And if you want to be a member of the channel, the link is in the description to join, guys. Thank you so much for your support. But this is big, guys. Not only are we kicking butt in Congress, not only are we getting transparency, but we are putting America first, and we're catching all the Democrats who set it all up in the wake of it. Check this out.
That Democrats enjoy open borders, and I'll use the word unfettered, but in the correct way here, unfettered open immigration, regardless of process or procedure. There is a way to migrate to the country. You can get a visa, you can go through the formal process in your own country and be welcomed in. You can enter at a port of entry and make various claims. What you cannot do is enter any place you want at any time for any reason you want. I think that's clear. However, first time explaining from the new studio, the Dems have had this argument for a long time going on internally, and they've actually aired it. They call it demographic destiny. When you talk about the exact same thing, they call it replacement theory, but it's the exact same thing, make no mistake. What the Democrats are referring to is a shift in the demographic makeup of the United States that they think, the destiny part, will lead them to a long-term grip on national power. Here's the process for them. They're having a real problem right now. The Electoral College is an issue for them. Swing states are starting to float in our direction, as you saw in the last election. Why? Because a lot of liberal people who live in these cities are being left behind in California, while conservatives, moderates, and even kind of old blue dog style Dem voters are leaving these liberal states because of poor public safety policies, high taxes, unfettered illegal immigration. So what's happening? The population of these liberal states is starting to shrink. The population that gives them Electoral College voting power. The Electoral College is based on the number of members of the House of Representatives, which depends on your population plus 2 senators. So the Democrats, who've spoken about this openly, see illegal immigration as a way to backfill people exiting these liberal states to move to more conservative states or swing states. They've talked about it over and over. I played the montage on the show 1,000 times. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not a mystery. It's them actually talking about it. Do me a favor. Just look it up. Go to any search engine, put in demographic destiny. You can see 1,000 clips of them discussing this. That's what's going on here. That's why they don't have it. Oh, look at this. I can see Justin's laptop up there. That's a new one. I didn't know that before. Just don't do anything shady on the laptop in the studio. Look at it. You can actually put it on the screen. Yeah, demographic destiny. You can see they talk about this stuff all the time, all the time. Here was the mayor of Boston, who was just disgracefully the other day sent her condolences and thoughts and prayers to a suspect in a case of a stabbing where an off-duty police officer acted rather heroically, by the way. You mean she sent the condolences to the police officer? No, to the other guy.
You can't make this stuff up, everybody.
So here's the mayor of Boston sending a message to illegal immigrants in many languages that basically this is your city. You could watch it yourself. I'm not making this up. Check this out.
You belong here. This is your home. Boston es tu hogar. Boston, c'est la caillou. 这是你的家. This is our city. We are the safest major city in the nation because we are safe for everyone.
Wow.
Clearly, you're not safe for everyone. I mean, if you're in a suspected attack or in a knife attack and you find yourself in a Chick-fil-A, you're not really safe because the mayor's going to send her thoughts and prayers to the suspect bad guy with the blade in this case and not the off-duty cop. Doesn't sound safe to me. Folks, incentives matter, okay? If you are going to say to people, break the law, don't enter in a port of entry, stay here illegally, and make no effort at any point to engage with the legal immigration process, but come here, we'll protect you, you are obviously going to become a magnet for people who break the law and come in. This is not hard to figure out. They're just playing dumb. They're not actually dumb with this. Folks, they think with the hive mind, though, and that's one thing about the Democrats. They're usually better at messaging than this. This immigration story to them is one of those basically 70-30, 80-20 issues where they're in the minority, in the 20-30%. They've dropped a big L on it, and they've had no ability to pull themselves out of it and say, guys, it's time to do what we did with the Bill Clinton Democrat Party and start to reorient ourselves towards the center. They're just not doing it. But it goes back to a point I've made repeatedly about the Borg hive mind Democrats, how when you're a collectivist, which is the essence of what progressive liberal Democrat values are these days, we should all share in the wealth, even wealth you didn't create. We should share in other people's wealth. The essence of that is that you have to act collectively. I'll be candid with you, that the only downside tactically, not ideologically or morally, to being a bedrock Republican who loves our values and conservatism is we're entrepreneurs and we're believers in freedom and individual liberty. We don't want to be told what to do. Tactically, That creates a coordination problem. It creates kind of what they call in economics a prisoner's dilemma. Democrats don't have that problem. They get a message, they go out there, and they all just repeat the same thing. Here we go. Did you check this out? Here, listen to this video. This is, what is this? That sheds a lie or something like that? But watch how they all got the message and just the exact same script over and over and over again. Check this out.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one, Donald Trump's
Hive
prices are
guys.
not down. They're up. Inflation is getting worse. Prices of groceries, gas, eggs, of essentials. It's not getting better. It's getting worse.
Okay, I have no problem with a message getting out there, but can you improv at least a few words? Change an and to a but, put a semicolon where a period was, maybe a comma, maybe an exclamation point, maybe act it out differently. Now you're probably thinking, oh, Dan, it was just 5 of them. No, it was more. The only reason we didn't play this one first is there's so many of them, it sounds like nothing but static when you play it all together. You doubt me? Here, check this out. That is the tactical benefit of thinking with the hive mind. They all repeat endlessly the same things over and over and over again. The rich don't pay their fair share. This is all they do. They think collectively. They're taught to not think individually, or else they'd be conservatives. And you're not. They're there.
Guys, let me tell you this. The hive mind, it don't work anymore. You know why? Because we have X. And people can see it. And just like I want to show you guys, just because it's great, that person who was speaking in the other languages, telling other people that it's safe, come to Boston, it's a sanctuary city. Well, guess what? Anna Paulina Luna has referred Boston Mayor Michelle Wu for criminal prosecution. Why? Because she's broken federal statutes. And guys, if you don't mind, do me a favor and hitting that thumbs up like button. Thank you so much for your support. Guys, this is the future. Holding people accountable. You break the federal laws, you're in a political position like a mayor, guess what? Your butt's going to jail too. Because this is what people want. They want the actual accountability to happen. Don't talk about it. Don't say we're going to do it and then not do it. That's why people are loving this. Trickle down Doge. Elon Musk campaigned that we're going to limit government. We're going to reduce spending. And what is he doing? He is doing it. And now that he's doing it, Republican states are embracing it. And now the big win that they're trying to get now is to get rid of federal property taxes. Get rid of the income tax at the federal level and then get rid of property taxes. That is about the most American thing you can do. That will 100% secure the midterms for the Republicans, but it also, I promise you, if they can get the Doge dividend checks, abolish and reduce the federal income taxes, and remove property taxes, you're talking about we would have 60 to 70 people in the Senate majority. We would be able to do things like never before because we're giving it back to the people, guys. But there's a lot that has to happen, and I got to show you both sides, guys. I got to show you the whole story. Check this out.
It's now time to be adults. Can't cosplay. We don't wear capes. This is the real world. The nation's in the balance of everything that President Trump is doing every day to hammer out, laying down the guns and stopping the kinetic part of the Third World War, both in Ukraine and now in the Middle East. And we had the Brigadier General on this morning from Israel. Everything President Trump is doing on the mass deportations and taking on the cartels and sealing the border. We're going to have one of the senior Border Patrol Union officials on here later. Everything that's going on there, everything that's going on in every other aspect of deconstructing the administrative state of what President Trump's doing, signing the executive order tomorrow to do away with the education department, making English the primary language. Everything that President Trump is doing. The key thing, if we don't get the economy right, and you can't get the economy right until you get control of this out-of-control federal spending. You can't. It's impossible. It's a runaway train. And nobody wants to jump on the train and get in and, pull the switch, pull it back, pull the brake. We're going to have to take some political pain. But if the American people understand, you explain to them, hey, we're in a mess. And one of the reasons we're in a mess is we've avoided these tough conversations for decades and decades and decades. In fact, we did the exact opposite. We just spent and spent and spent. You know this. You know this has happened either in your personal life, you know people's personal lives this happened in. We need an intervention. We need an intervention. I think the intervention, the person that actually does it and helps President Trump, may be this audience. We'll have to see. We've got a few more cards to play first. Don't get ahead of us there. Don't get ahead of us here. You're a strategic asset. We have to do this very smartly. My problem with Speaker Johnson is not just that he overpromises and never delivers. It's that it's even worse than that. He treats you like an idiot when he throws things out that he knows or knows is not true, and that kind of becomes the narrative, and people kind of go down that path. So right now, after all the misrepresentation and all the lies from December, and we had to get here, we're going to have appropriations bill, we're going to do our work. Okay, that was all a lie. That was all a lie. What they want now is a CR that takes us to the end of the fiscal year, basically one half, of the year. That would, and you just got to face reality. They never want to talk about it, but we're in the war room, so we are going to talk about it because the war room posse has to have the receipts. That's Biden's budget. So President Trump in his first year, no matter how we want to stay at least on this CR, they want passed, and all Democrats said they're not going to do it because in times past, you had to keep the government open, you had to keep the government open, you had to keep the government open, but the people in the House now say no, it should be shut down because Trump isn't there. Okay, so
that's messed up.
We've got Biden's budget, so it's Biden's numbers. It's a $2 trillion money guarantee, money good deficit, $2 trillion. The least $2 trillion, the gap between revenues coming in and spending, $2 trillion. The most, as bad as that is, and those are horrible, maybe you can live with that. But the worst is that since it's an up or down vote, you're not only not going to do any of the Doge things that have been identified, but you're actually going to finance the waste, fraud, and abuse at least to September 30th. I know it's insanity. So here's their theory of the case. Their theory of the case is called impoundment, right? And the other is rescission. Take your number 2 pencil out, write those terms. I've given to you before, but this is going to become quite important. And they're very different things. Elon goes to the Senate yesterday, and if you look at and you go on my Getter, you see particularly Lindsey Graham and these guys in the Senate. In the Senate, whether you like them or not, they think they're the House of Lords, in the House of Representatives, the House of Commons. So they goes to Lords yesterday, and the Lords sit there and go, hey, we think you're all happy talk, right? We'd love to see what you got, but you haven't shown us anything. You won't answer any questions. So how about this? You're not going to actually do anything because the Constitution says it has to be us, and we're going to put in rescission. Rescission means it has to go back to Congress for a vote, that they can have rescission on budgets, but it's put up in a package after a budget's done sometime towards the end of the fiscal year. You vote on rescission, and that's taken off the budget. So let's say you pass $6.5 trillion. At the end, you spent, let's say the Green New Deal, I'm throwing out an example, was $300 billion. They decided not to do it. $6.2 trillion. That $300 billion, by the end of the year, they take a vote. It only has to be majority. It's not, you don't have to break filibuster. So 51 Senate votes get you, and you control the House, so you should be able to get it. They told Elon flat out, yo, we're the Senate. You're not going to do anything. You can go find it and tell us what it is, and we'll package it. Rand Paul said, hey, we'll do $500 million of rescissions. $500 million rescissions in this year, I would leave a surgeon. If you find $500 million, I'm all in. Good on you. Good on you, man. Good on you. And he says, we'll actually do it in $100 billion layers. So it'll be 5 $100 billion rescissions. You got to find it. On the website right now of Doge, if you go there right now, they say basically $100 billion. But they include USAID, and they include some other things that would say, hey, that's more programmatic, not waste, fraud, and abuse. But as bad as USAID is and all the people who attacked it for years, it's terrible, it's awful, but we knew it was getting funded. So it's not like finding waste, fraud, and abuse. It's programmatic is what we call it.
Guys, let me tell you this. They're The whole thing that's coming down right now is that things are starting to actually hit the ground when it comes to the tariffs, when it comes to the Doge spending. This came out, guys. Things are getting heated. Trump-Trudeau tariff call was heated and included profanity, is the report. Like, things are going to get, like they say usually, things are going to get worse before they get better. But the one thing that we have to remember is that Trump is a businessman. He knows what he's doing. He has all the cards. The United States has all the cards. We cannot pull back and not embrace that, hey, we are the United States of America. Because again, too, when we release and improve all the stuff that's been happening and have all the transparency, people are going to follow. Krisha Walters, thank you so much for gifting one TrueLife News membership. Let's go. Y'all show Krisha some love in the chat. I want to show you this, guys, because this is about as breaking news as it gets. House Oversight Project finds the Biden presidency was almost entirely run by autopen signature. We gathered every document we could find with Biden's signature over the course of his presidency. All used the same autopen signature, except for the announcement that the former president was dropping out of the race last year. Here is his autopen signature. This is criminal. The whole presidency. Look at this. This is the at the bottom is what he did whenever he actually said, hey, I'm dropping out. But at the top is all this printed. It's printed. They have it in the database. And what this shows is that Biden wasn't the president. His staffers were the president. His Biden was just there for looks, if you liked how he looked, and he was there for show as a puppet. That's the worst part about this, guys, is that for 4 years, why do you think we spent, and we were literally going to have a $7 trillion budget in the United States because staffers were running it and just making everybody was winning that was on the politician Democratic lobbyist side, but the American people were getting screwed over, being put more into debt. And think about it now. All these signatures were autopen, which means a staffer wrote it up. A staffer said, hey, we're going to sign this, Mr. President, and then used the autopen signature to put his signature on there and then had it go through. That's not what the United States is. We finally have a commander-in-chief in the presidency, and all the Democrats are doing is just digging themselves a deeper and deeper hole because the stuff that they're doing, you cannot make this stuff up, guys. Lee Jackson, welcome to the family. Let's go. And y'all show Lee some love in the chat. And if you don't mind doing me a favor, guys, of hitting that thumbs up like button. Y'all are the best. Check this out.
Democrats are enlisting Elmo and Big Bird as they continue to wage war on Doge, staging a massive protest, literally 3 people, this morning in front of NPR. And by the way, NPR stands for not pooping regularly, which is why, what's his name, Scott Simon, always sounds constipated. Anyway, this comes as President Trump convenes his cabinet to talk shop on the cost-cutting crew that saved taxpayers $105 billion and counting. Elon also in attendance. Here's what 47 said about the meeting.
I want the cabinet members to keep good people. I don't want to see a big cut where a lot of good people are cut. I want the cabinet members to keep the good people, and the cabinet members go first. And if they can cut, it's better. And if they don't cut, then Elon will do the cutting.
But a Columbia professor claims cutting waste is racist, all because the coconut lady lost.
Yes, it's an attack on government, but it's also an attack on this government. What I mean by that is it's an attack on this government that used to be headed by a black man. It's an attack on this government that almost elected a black woman to the highest office in the land. It's an attack on a government that has been more welcoming and more supportive of people who have come to this country in search for a better life.
He didn't like it either, but he won't.
So, Dana,
I'm a strict parent.
Writer Joshua Lysick says that a bad review by a bad person is a good review. So whenever you hear this criticism of Doge, it means It's good.
So it's like a double negative.
A double negative.
I see. I got it.
Not like a double negative.
In the 5 stages of democratic outrage, everything we are mad about is racist usually comes a little bit later, but it's here now. This is one thing I would say about that. And I wasn't planning necessarily to bring up education, but I'm glad Harold did, because we have the record low test scores for America's children, and no Democrats talking about it. No one's talking about it. Are they saying that we should have more money at the Department of Education? What are the outcomes you are getting for that? As my former boss used to call this, especially at the inner city school levels, but now in rural schools as well, that it's the soft bigotry of low expectations. And the thing about this is you have a Department of Education that is really catering to a lot of different things that it might not necessarily need to exist, because the things that people say they like about the schools, for example, the pre-K program, that's not done through Department of Education. That's over at the Health and Human Services Department. You care about school lunches? You want kids to have school lunches? What about school breakfast? Great. Well, call Brooke Rollins. She's at the USDA. You care about military schools? That's Pete Hegseth is now in charge of that. So a lot of these things, like student loans, why couldn't that be done at the Treasury Department? It's the bureaucracy and all these administrators and all the DEI stuff that was happening that was not getting you to the results that you need to get so that you could actually overcome.
Wow.
Yeah,
You humiliated Harold over there.
Can I say something? Well, I'll say this at the end. I'll say it because I rarely ever disagree with Dana. Here's where I disagree. I actually think we have to have a Department of Education that's 10 times size than one we have now. We centralize the things that we value the most. Local governments have screwed up education more so than federal governments have. They spend more money on it. They have more responsibility. And this, I'm not saying they're bad people. No. They just haven't managed it.
Well, let me give you an example, though. Today, I interviewed Dr. Cade Brumley. He is from Louisiana.
Nerd debate.
Yes, no, but he is from Louisiana. Guess the only state to improve in reading in the last 4 years was Louisiana.
You know why? Because they really sucked beforehand.
They did, and they said, we don't want to suck anymore. So they said, guess what? We're going back to basics. We're doing phonics. He said, we do flashcards for math. They went back. But that's not the Department of Education. And I asked him, are you okay if it goes away? And he says, yes, give me the money. I can do better.
Leadership is saying when something works, scale it. And when something doesn't work, scrap it. I think the federal government should have a bigger role with local partners. That's just because our schools suck.
They suck.
If you believe that, and you know where the responsibility is, it's at the local level.
Oh, really?
We need a different
approach. It's a federal bureaucracy, but it's the local level's fault? Is that what you're saying?
Wow.
Judge, look at the amount of money and look at the responsibilities in education. You can do that in the commercial break, then you can beat me up all you want.
Yeah,
it's all in the local. You see what I'm saying, Dana?
I do see what you're saying.
You may not agree, but that's the point I make. I didn't mean to hijack your thing, but since we got going on it.
Wow.
It's all right. I like the fire in your eyes, Harold.
Me too.
Yeah, boy. Wow. Smoky in here. Judge, continue bashing Harold for me.
Look, I think the problem with this whole thing, and by the way, you know what? Jimmy Carter, I think I've said this before, created the Department of Education with an executive order. So Donald Trump taking it out with an executive order, I think is very appropriate. And I honestly believe that what happened, especially during COVID, and the loss of learning that our kids have suffered and will never make up for in the next generation, while kids in other countries were doing, studying quantum physics in China and Russia, is really a result of the federalization of the education. If it were left to the locals, that would not have happened, because I'm telling you, schools in North Carolina, schools in Alabama, they wouldn't have been closed for this. Let's get a metric where COVID is, our kids are protected. But that's not the issue. The point I want to make on this segment is this. 2020, George Floyd, all this super woke stuff, gave these people like this Columbia professor, and imagine what the hell what he's telling your kids that you're paying $90,000 a year for if he tells you that, Doge is racist because Obama was a black president. I haven't made the connection yet, but they think that they beat Trump because Trump was a racist. But the truth is the mistake they made was believing that racism was going to take them through the next 4 years. And they acted in 2024 like it was still a racist country when it's not. And people didn't believe Donald Trump was a racist. And so they doubled down with Kamala as a candidate, thinking that this racism claim that this professor from Columbia, who may be a friend of yours, is making no sense on, is going to be the strength of the Democrat Party. It's over, all of this nonsense. It's over.
It is over, guys. You know why? Because Trump is signing executive orders left and right. and he just signed one. Guys, he is clearing house right now. Check this out.
Sir, your administration has made it a priority both to end lawfare and the weaponization of government, and also to hold those who have engaged in lawfare accountable. One of the law firms that has been involved in that is called Perkins Coie. That's also a law firm that has engaged in unlawful DEI practices. This executive order will suspend security.
And I've watched it take place.
This executive order will suspend security clearances and access to certain federal resources for that law firm, and also launch a holistic review of unlawful DEI practices at some of the nation's largest law firms.
Wow, guys.
This is an absolute honor to sign. What they've done is it's just terrible. It's weaponization. You could say weaponization against a political opponent, and it should never be allowed to happen again. And you're looking at about 15 different firms?
That or more, sir, yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Right there. 15 different firms are being investigated now for their DI practices, for the weaponization of government against Trump, the Steele dossier, all that stuff. Guys, it's coming full circle. And the part that I love most is that when you look at where Trump is taking things to, we're just barely starting, guys. If you're enjoying this, would you do me a favor, guys, and click that thumbs up like button? I want to say thank you, Andy, for the super chat. Said Trump should use the FEMA camps that Democrats were planning to use to imprison Trump supporters to hold illegals until they are sent back. I 100% agree with that. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat. And then Mr. Tracy J. Norby. Guys, he's got a song for us. He said, put the lime in the coconut and call me in the morning. But that coconut best not be Kamala Harris, because she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and she's plum nuts. That's all. That's for all the support, y'all. Show the love. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. Right here, guys. Trump comes out and they've had all these meetings with all the senators and all the congressmen over Doge, because Doge is barely getting started, guys. Trump said Doge has been an incredible success, and now that we have my cabinet in place, I have instructed the secretaries in leadership to work with Doge on cost-cutting measures and staffing. As the secretaries learn about and understand the people working for their various departments, they can also be very precise as to who will remain and who will go. We say the scalpel rather than the hatchet. The combination of them, Elon, Doge, and other great people will be able to do things at a historic level. That's what we want. We want to take things to the next level. We are the greatest country in the world. There's no reason we shouldn't be holding people accountable when they do stupid things like what Al Green did or what these Democrats have done, especially these city mayors, and they need to be held accountable. Y'all show Mr. Norby and Andy some love in the chat. Check this out.
Weird Al Green waved his cane at the president, and now he's being censured like Adam Schiff. Trump says Al's an embarrassment to Congress, but a much bigger embarrassment to Democrats, and thinks he should be forced to take an IQ test. But Weird Al says his ponytail gives him special powers.
If circumstances permitted, given what I know, I have to be candid. I would do it again.
Are the Democrats comfortable with a Weird Al Green and his foot-long pony brandishing his cane around the Capitol, yelling at POTUS? The answer is yes. They circled the wagons on the House floor and sang, "We shall overcome."
Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. Shh. And that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
And across the hall, they were screaming like Karens.
I always think that we should sage this room after these hearings because we hear a lot of crazy stuff in here. It's total bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Oh, dang.
They are not making America safer again, and what they are doing is terrorizing immigrant families.
No one in the party can calm them down. Nancy's not calling the shots anymore, so shots are being fired inside the tent. Hakeem better duck. Democrats are leaking, saying people are super, rhymes with hist, that we didn't get more direction from leadership. People could have just sat on their hands, but we ended up looking like infants. Fetterman agrees. A sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance, and only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. We're becoming the metaphorical car alarms that nobody pays attention to, and it may not be the winning message. Democrats showed up Wednesday night with a bunch of paddles and color schemes, and even the Washington Post was like, knock it off, weirdos. Quote, it might have been when several Democrats walked into Donald Trump's congressional address wearing coordinated shades of bubblegum. But it was definitely by the time several dozen Democrats started waving ping-pong-sized paddles in the House chamber that I started to really worry about the resistance. This isn't even a real political party. It's more like a paid protest. Congressman, hold this sign and chant this slogan. Attaboy.
Every time I see what Democrats are up to, I die inside a little bit more. Like, it's just so, what it communicates to us is that they don't care. If someone gave me a script and told me, hey, read this, and you don't have to think about it, just read this because you're fighting for Social Security or you're fighting for some social safety net. I don't need a script. I don't need a script. I have my own thoughts, my own views. This is the problem with the Democrats right now. They're so out of touch with their own base.
Yeah, we just got our hands on this insider poll that Democrats have been freaking out about all day. Their voters think the party's lost its way. 40% of their base say they have no plan.
Wow.
But they do have a plan. It's just the same as the old plan.
They've said, oh, they taking your black jobs. They taking your black jobs. Not really. They are obviously jobs that they want us to go back to, such as work in the fields, all right? Clearly, he is trying to make us go back to the fields.
It puts us back to when America was great and we were picking cotton and all of it. We're doing the productivity that they are putting my Latino brothers and sisters who migrate here to do that work because we are not suited intellectually to do it anymore. And but they.
Did you just hear what I just showed you? So Latinos, which, you know, talking about Cuban, when you say Latino, Mexican, Cuban, you know, Puerto Rican, that's kind of what they fall into. They're stupid enough to come in and work the fields, and now black people they're intellectually above that to working in the fields. So now they got to go do something else. This race baiting crap, guys, this is why the Democrats' book is losing so bad. Because they cannot help it. Everything always goes back to race. Everything always goes back to this is this or this that. They want us to go back in the fields and pick cotton. Nobody's ever said that. But this is how they work, guys. Can you believe this crap? My goodness. This is about as worse as you get. And guys, if you don't mind, man, I just appreciate y'all's support so much and just being grateful that we can do this for you. But this is just nuts.
It would have us back confined to doing that kind of work.
Jasmine, not to be confused with Davy Crockett, and Hank Guam Johnson aren't the intellects that are going to lead the Democrats out of this ditch. But why think if you can dance? Choose your character. Our fighters have swords and chainsaws, and yours have canes and paddles. Schumer says Democrats are aroused, but they look frustrated.
I'm sitting in this chair, just, trying to take a deep breath and say a couple of Hail Marys for strength to not just punch the computer in frustration.
Why is the Cajun raging? I thought he said to play possum. Barack's having the time of his life. Look at him at the Clippers game without Michelle, soaking it up.
Oh, where is
Biden's
Michelle?
out to dinner in D.C. with Dr. Jill. Insiders say Kamala's running for California governor. So who's doing the fighting?
Who do you think the leader of the Democratic Party is right now?
I think the voting public right now is what I would say. And I keep telling that. We're not going to have a charismatic leader ride in here and save us from this.
Kamala Harris got 75 million votes and her VP didn't even call her the leader of the party.
Wow.
Come on, tampon. Not cool. Did you even know he's still governor? He's still governor of Minnesota. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Democrats want the next Messiah, so they're trying to draft an ESPN anchor.
They lost. They had a bad few months. We all know this. And even though there's a lot of qualified Democrats all over the country from a local perspective, governors, mayors, stuff like that, there's no real national voice. Enter moi. They've come to me. And so, I mean, I did not ask for this. I don't want this. I happen to have a very, very, very good life, very good job. I'm good, very good.
This is like hiring someone to run a business that's about to declare bankruptcy. No one wants that job. And no one wants to be the face of the party that doesn't stand up for black kids with cancer. This is what the Democrat Party looks like when their media machine's broken. For decades, traditional press propped them up, hid their scandals, did their dirty work, and carried them over the finish line. Democrats didn't even have to come up with any ideas or defend their positions. They just got to walk the catwalk, twirl, smile, and head back to the dressing room. Alejandro Mayorkas knows it's over.
The front windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror for a reason. I tend to look forward and push forward. I am very proud of what we did do. I would have liked to have wrestled with the question of communication and narration some more. But we spent a lot of time on it. It's a very difficult landscape. Traditional media is not as powerful as it once was.
Mayorkas just confessed that the traditional media was the Democrats' propaganda machine. And it ran out of juice. So now Democrats have to rely on themselves to get their message out. And the Democrats are like,
They
wait,
suck.
what's our message? How do I talk to people? Can someone tell me what to do here? You want me to sing, dance? All right. Stephanopoulos never made me do it, but I'll give it a shot. Republicans are naturals because they were forced to go around traditional media and communicate directly to voters. They typed their own tweets, they made their own videos, they spoke for hours on radio. It's direct-to-consumer content, unfiltered, unedited, real and authentic. Trump ran the first podcast campaign. Could any Democrat go on a 3-hour podcast and defend their ideas? It's why they run away when conservative reporters ask them a question in the hallway. Campaigns will never be the same. And the only one who gets it is Gavin Newsom, who's trying to bro out on his podcast with Charlie Kirk. Watch.
We're losing. We have this, I feel it's asymmetry of Donald Trump and Elon Musk sending out tweets, or you doing social media, and then me doing a 3-minute hit at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on CNN. I mean, how the hell do we compete? We're toast. A lot of folks were talking about that Carville article where he talked about
roll over and play dead.
Roll over, but in essence, he said that. I think it was a strategic retreat, right? And then I'm thinking about, we're going to stand back and watch you run circles around us for 6 months, the next 2 or 3 years, waiting for the moment to finally strike. Struck me as not necessarily the best advice, and it's not a knock on Carville, who I have deep respect for. What do you do? Seriously, Charlie Kirk, give us some advice.
Get better ideas, Governor.
Gavin Newsom's asking Charlie Kirk for media advice.
To level the
That's the problem with the Democrats. They think it's all messaging and media strategy. They just have bad ideas, if they have any ideas at all. Obviously, Newsom's running for president in 28, so he has to flip-flop on trans.
You right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate.
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. So it's deeply unfair.
Would you speak out against this young man, A.B. Hernandez, who right now is going to win the state championship in the long jump? I can see you wrestling with it.
No, I'm not wrestling. I'm not wrestling with the fairness issue. I totally agree with you. Completely fair on the issue of fairness. I completely agree. So that's easy to call out.
Easy to call out? If it's so easy, why hasn't he done it? California's let boys play in girls' sports for 10 years. Gavin's been lieutenant and governor the whole time. Never called it out. California says it's going to resist Trump's order to keep boys out of girls' sports. Does Gavin even know what his own state's doing?
Wow.
This guy signed a law that lets teachers transition students behind their parents' back. Your son, Jimmy, can go to school and be Jasmine, play girls' field hockey. And California hides it from parents. Gavin's John Hancock's on that bill. If anyone's transitioning, it's Gavin. Democrats lose an election and the governor drops a podcast and says there's two genders? Okay.
Guys, let me tell you this. Gavin Newsom wants to run for president. He's trying to move to the center. And he's doing all this stuff. Seriously, a podcast with Charlie Kirk? Let me tell you this. The things that are coming, all the smart Democrats will get on board. Just like this. Trickle down Doge. Republican states are embracing the Musk-style cuts. I want to say, if you don't mind, guys, clicking the thumbs up like button. Thank you so much for your support. But what I'm about to show you next, guys, this is what I love to show, is that you talk about, you have these left-wing media outlets that continue to say, Doge is bad, Trump is doing bad, they shouldn't be doing these cuts. But yet, when they do the polling shows that they are dead wrong. And I love it whenever they get called out on their own show. Check this out.
Bringing about. How are they feeling about
Yeah, this to me was one of the more shocking figures that I saw. Made me go, wait a minute, hold on one second. Whoa, Americans on Trump and Joe's efforts. Musk and Doge should influence government spending and operations. Look at this. 54%. The majority say that he and they should. How about approve of Trump trying to cut staff at government agencies? Again, you get a majority here. 51%. So yeah, Elon Musk might not be that popular, but these cuts and the idea of spending cuts, at least within the federal government and cutting at government agencies, that actually has majority support. I was truly surprised by this, Kate, but the numbers are the numbers.
Well, there is a view that cuts across Democrat and Republican of people thinking that Washington is too big, bloated federal government, waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, those are drain the swamp is what people run on over and over again. How do they feel? What do they think they're actually cutting?
Yeah, what do they think they're actually cutting? Democrats want to argue that the type of spending that Musk is cutting is mainly necessary programs, but that comes in at just 36%. The wasteful spending actually wins the plurality here at 42%, according to a recent Washington Post Ipsos poll. And I think that is the reason why you see that when it comes to Musk and Doge, you see, in fact, the majority believe he should have some influence because they believe, the plurality believe, that he is cutting wasteful spending, not necessary programs that Democrats are arguing.
Tomato, tomato. I do like Dusk and Moj, though. I think we need to keep that around. But the definition of wasteful is, I think, what is really starting to come into play.
Correct.
What people, necessary to one is wasteful to another. We are seeing that and finding that. How are Americans feeling about the size of the government?
Yeah, so what is exactly going on here? What is sort of driving these numbers underneath? Government is doing too much or too little. Back in 2020, when Trump lost re-election, 54% said too little. By the time he won re-election in 2024, look at that. Too much won the majority at 55%. It was the inverse. So I think there's this real push from the American public to want spending at the U.S. government to drop. And I think that's part of the reason why they're giving Musk and Doge that majority, at least at this point, when it comes to his influence over federal government.
They're giving.
You see that, guys? Even CNN has to admit, hey, people want to see the government get smaller. Stop spending our dang money. Give us back our money, our hard-earned money. And what I love too, guys, is get this. Not only is Doge tearing it up, Trump's tearing it up with executive orders, Doge and Elon Musk are tearing it up with limiting government. Congress right now is tearing it up against mayors and anti-Semitism, guys. This is beautiful what you're about to see. Check this out.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to all of the witnesses for being here. Let me say that I too am pleased that we're finally holding a hearing after years on this vitally important topic, particularly as these anti-Jewish, anti-Israel protests now erupt again on our college campuses, most of which, all of which, are getting massive amounts of federal funding. Mr. Rockland, is that how I say your name, by the way? Is it Rockland?
Rackland, just imagine R-A-C-K rather than
Rackland. Okay, I got it. All right, I'll see if I can adhere to that.
Appreciate it.
Let me just ask you, I just want to make sure that I heard you in response. I think it was to Senator Welch. Did you say that you're not in favor of canceling visas for foreign students who commit unlawful acts against Jewish students?
I said at this time, Nexus does not have a position on that, the organization I work for. And then I went on to describe how in the national strategy, it doesn't talk about that, doesn't recommend that. And that was done in consultation with 1,000 leaders across the board and was supported by the ADL, AJC, JFNA, J Street, all of us.
So you don't think that's not a good idea? I mean, why would we permit a foreign student who's here on a student visa who commits an act of violence, an unlawful act against a Jewish student? Why wouldn't we say, sorry, but if you're going to commit acts of violence against Jewish students, Jewish Americans or foreign Jewish students, whomever, we're going to revoke your visa. I mean, you're going home.
So I think on that issue itself, sorry, just got to.
They got him.
It's not, when you're talking about acts of violence and you're talking about actually breaking U.S. law towards students, that is criminal. That should be done through the Justice Department. When we're talking about deportation, that's immigration. So if there is a criminal investigation that leads to deportation, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Well, I'm talking about student visas. They're here on visas. They're here on particular.
Doing that.
Well, sure, but why don't we write into the process a condition of the visa that if you assault a Jewish student on campus, you're out of here. You're gone.
Boom, baby.
If it was written in the statute and if it was broad enough to be not just be for Jews, but for all people that have experienced discrimination, regardless of who they are, I think that we should look at that. But I think until that is in law, what I'm basing this on is what the current statute says and what what currently is being done.
Well, listen, I guess I don't understand the hesitation here at all. To me, this is an easy call, and I've urged the current Secretary of State, Secretary Rubio, to do this. I think he's got the authority to do it. My position is it would send an incredibly clear message. If you come to this country on a student visa, you are here as a guest of the United States for particular purposes. If you assault a Jewish student on campus, you ought to be out of here. And we ought to make it clear to people we are not going to tolerate it. We're not going to tolerate it for any reason.
Y'all see that, guys? Again, they're tearing it up everywhere. This is beautiful, guys. This is what I'm talking about. And I just can't, I got to show you this again, too. Because this mayor on the right, Mayor Wu, comes out and says, they asked her, so how much money have you spent on illegal immigrants in the past 4 years? Oh, we don't know. Why don't you know? Because we don't ever ask immigration status. So whenever you're giving out benefits to anybody, you never ask where they're from, if they're a citizen. No, we don't want to offend them. You wait, what? This is literally what she said during the hearing, everybody. Anna Paulina said, you know what? You are breaking federal law. You're doing this, you're doing that. We're referring you to the DOJ for criminal prosecution because you're literally subverting all the American taxpayer dollars in a certain way so that you can help and get all the voters that you want and not have to be American citizens like we've seen it in all these other sanctuary states. They need to be held accountable. And this is just the beginning, guys, because you know who else is about to be held accountable? Our good friend AOC. The things that are coming out of these people's mouth, you cannot make up. We're not going to tolerate this. Check this out.
Are continuing to crumble. Al Green doing them absolutely no favors while getting censured today. This dude couldn't keep his mouth shut long enough while the president was speaking to Congress. He got thrown off the House floor during that speech. This is what I have been saying for years, is that Republicans are always talking about decorum and taking the high road, and Democrats just don't care about any of those things. When they're in the minority, they are agents of chaos. They do whatever they want, rules be damned. But God forbid, the one time Republicans actually follow through and hold someone accountable. Keep in mind, 10 Democrats actually voted for this censure too. And you guys saying, we shall overcome.
With public reading of this resolution.
Just the irony here, that the Democrat Party, the party that during the Civil War was for slavery, is on the House floor today with black members, by the way, elected members of U.S. Congress, which is clearly no shortage of rights here in America, and they're singing a song that originated in slavery. This was the song of the civil rights movement, which, by the way, Democrats were also on the wrong side of. Jim Crow laws, all the things that were overcome in this reference to that song are things that the Democrat Party stood for. Now, I know history is hard for you libs, but what exactly are you trying to overcome? Like, Al Green broke the rules, and he admitted it. You overcoming the rules now? Because all I've heard from you since Trump took office was the importance for the rules and how you're like fighting for the Constitution. You can't even read the Constitution and all that stuff. But don't worry, where there's a camera, you'll find AOC. This is how the de facto co-leader of the Democrat Party responded today.
It's really because Republicans just
they're very thin-skinned and they're very sensitive and their feelings are very easily hurt, and so they have to vote on censure resolution.
There, you can't make this
We're
stuff
the
up.
ones who are sensitive? Republicans? You guys have a full-blown meltdown if someone uses the wrong pronoun. You hyperventilate on your yoga mat if you run out of almond milk at your local latte shop. You hold a press conference if someone uses the wrong gender. Your party screams at the lake, at gatherings. You scream at nothing. Like this. Because you couldn't cope with Trump winning. There are countless videos of you thin-skinned vegans whining and crying.
They literally went and did a gathering scream because they were so mad that Trump won. They went and screamed at the ocean. Guys, you cannot make this stuff up. I don't even know how to process the people that will do this because they're so affected by the politics in a certain way. Like, this makes no sense. Chip Trap, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, you know that kid in the grocery store that throws themselves on the floor kicking and screaming because they can't have what they want? That's Dems for Congress. 100%, guys. Look at this. Y'all show Chip some love in the chat.
Because you think Trump's going to do something that he never said he was going to do. You gluten-free, tofu-eating, Birkenstock coastal elites have run an entire campaign on sensitivity and feel-good, placid niceties while you defund the police, doubling our taxes, holding soy-based bake sales to raise awareness for, like, I don't know, Guatemalan water moccasin with 7 masks on. You blue-haired baristas spent 4 years trying to cancel anyone with calluses on their hands because it was toxic masculinity. And you're calling Republicans sensitive? That's rich. Okie doke. Keep that up for the next 4 years, please. Oh, and by the way, this you, AOC? This socialist with an economics degree from Boston who was a bartender until a talent agency reinvented your identity and recruited you to run for Congress? That you fake crying at a border facility with nobody in it that Barack Obama built? Lady, you grew up in Westchester, okay? Affluent Westchester. Don't pretend to be some, like, Jenny from the block, okay? But this is as disconnected as the Democrat Party is. I mean, it actually is a gift to be able to go through life and have this little self-awareness like Democrats do. You guys just got creamed in a national, I'm talking smackdown like nobody's business, like a WWE event, okay? You performed worse in every single county than the previous election, and your answer is to double down? Okay. Like, this is your new recruiting ad. You see this? A bunch of, like, Temu Avengers. I mean, what's the goal here?
What? Yeah, what is this, guys?
Actually, you know what? I'm going to cheer this on. I think it's great. You guys should run on this for the next 4 years. I saw this morning. I almost considered donating to the Democrat Party just to help you promote videos like this. Because right now, you guys are the best players on Trump's team, apparently. Even John Fetterman realizes how ridiculous you are. He tweeted out a sad calculate of self-owns and unhinged petulance. It only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. We're becoming metaphorical car alarms that no one pays attention to and may not be the winning message. The guy recovered from an aneurysm and he figured this out. And if you can't realize how crazy that is that the dude who can't even be bothered to put on a pair of pants for the Senate floor thinks you're nuts, could you imagine if they started drug testing members of Congress? And the second someone tries to talk just a little bit of sense into these people, the other face of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett, goes on a podcast and says Trump wants to bring back slavery.
Oh, they taking your black jobs. They taking your black jobs. Not really. They are obviously jobs that they want us to go back to, such as work in the fields, all right? Those immigrants that come into our country, they work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time. And clearly, he is trying to make us go back to the fields.
Oh, she said that out loud. Work in the fields? Look, I will donate $1,000 to David Hogg's super PAC. I will deliver that money in cash to his skinny little peanut arms if you can show me one time Trump said anything like that. Huh? In fact, I can show you where Democrats only wanted people working in the fields.
If you look at the food that's on your table, think about who picked it.
He's going to deport 20 million people, the people who pick your crops.
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that,
No.
you know
That's
what I mean?
messed
Like,
up.
what I'm saying.
That is messed up. Dang.
Like, take your over virtuous fake outrage and try it on someone else. You
Ain't that the
people are
truth?
intolerable. I mean, like, your answer is to shut down the government now? Like, that's all you got? That's their new thing? How many times did Democrats say that this was bad?
If Republicans do not work with Democrats in a bipartisan way very soon, the government will shut down at midnight.
That bipartisan agreement has now been detonated because House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt the very working class Americans that many of them pretend to want to help.
This is your new resist campaign. Like, what are you resisting? Your re-election? This is the rudderless Democrat Party, the party that trashes white people, and it's run by a bunch of old white people. And since Nancy Pelosi is fading off into oblivion, as Trump may sell her San Francisco-based federal building that's her gem, they don't have a direction. They're trying to appeal to like some cool pop culture that's literally laughing at them. They don't know how to respond to Trump and Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and Kid Rock and all the other folks on the Trump train that are having a great time, by the way. So they're just like throwing spaghetti at the wall with influencers like this. 16-year-old broccoli tops that take over the bench press at 5 o'clock with 10-pound plates on it, wearing Air Force Ones, getting tickled by Cory Booker. I mean, great look, guys. This is your legislative rudder? America is laughing at you people. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is like great TV. I mean, plenty of stuff for like 7 minutes. Deeply therapeutic on my end, too. But the Democrat Party is a product of a generation that got trophies for last place. And through like a series of SAT words and cringy commercials, they're trying to appeal to an American public that is just laughing.
Guys, let me tell you this. It's laughable. We can all sit back and let me just say this. Just think if they would have won the election. Holy moly, we dodged a bullet, guys. We dodged a missile. We dodged an asteroid with the Democratic Party and where they're at and their ideals and ideologies and how they believe. We are putting America first. We're moving forward in the right direction, and it feels amazing, guys. Thank you to all of our subscribers, to all of our viewers. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Let us serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind clicking that thumbs up like button, doing us a favor, guys, and helping us to grow this channel. And don't forget about our other channel in the description, guys. We're working on some really cool stuff for that channel, bringing on some new team members, guys. So I'm really excited about it. And if you want to be a member, thank you to all of our members. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join, guys. Y'all are the best. Doing this and reporting this news, guys, I love it. It keeps us informed. It lets us know. I show you everything, guys. And I want you to see from all different sides. It doesn't matter if where the truth comes from. Because right now, CNN, CBS are polling that everybody loves Trump's agenda. Like, how amazing is that? And I want to show that. I want to give some love to Straight Shooter, Karen Shabandi, Jackie Rorson, Tammy Fields, Krisha Walters, Lee Jackson, Andy, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Chip Trapp. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. America first, baby. Guys, I apologize. We're gonna try to launch our real life true life news t-shirts, but we're working on the website and trying to make it as best as it can be for you guys. We want the best experience possible, but these are, I'm telling you, these shirts are amazing. We're gonna be donating a portion of those that revenue to charity, guys. And I'm looking forward to it. We're trying to shoot for his ASAP, guys. So hopefully we get some more work done tomorrow. And maybe a Saturday launch. We'll see. But thank you so much for your support. We love you all. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.